Yes, you can achieve a college education right here in your own community. Harcum College's ACE program at the Deliverance Evangelistic Church offers associate degree programs that can help you land a good job and improve your quality of life.
I like Harcum and Debbie because I can continue my education.
The teachers are great. The atmosphere is great.
It's all possible through iLead and Harcum.
Call now or check out our Facebook page at Harcum College at Deliverance Evangelistic Church.
Hello, everybody. This is David Evans from Washington, D.C. I'm so happy for all of you watching around the world. This is going to be one of the best broadcasts we ever had on the PIC TV Network. And I'm so happy for all of you with us today. I'm so happy, again, my co-founder is here. My main man is here, Campbell. Hey, man, you so big. They named the hurricane after you, man. I don't know what's up with this, dude.
It's just one of those things, man. It's just Hurricane Ian is tearing it up. I just can't associate with that too much. He's doing way too much damage.
Man, I know, man. Let's get right into this big hot spotlight today. This is Hello America on the PIC TV Network, folks, and you can chat in on PIC TV Network, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and you're watching live. Okay, we'll talk about our special guest we have it on today, man. This is part of the Black Caucus. This is big for PIC TV Network, man. Come on.
First, this is just an honor. I'm very privileged to be here with you, Doc, and to share this momentous occasion. A good friend, Queen, is here. She's inspired me several years ago. We were doing some business together, but she inspired me as far as humanitarian efforts that she was doing, and led to what she was providing containers, tractor trailers of food to people in need. And I wanted to jump on that program and support it and expand it. And you and I expanded on that here in the DMV. So, she's just been an inspiration, motivation. She has traveled throughout the continent as Queen Mother and doing tremendous, tremendous things. And I'm honored just to say she's a friend, and I love the work that she's doing. And she's been blessing us by introducing us to Princess Dr. Sam Zungu Fidelis. And Dr. Sam is extraordinary. She's author, speaker, lecturer, but most important, she's a mentor. I thought that was just amazing because being able to provide the service that she provides, but also be able to hold the hands of those that's coming up at the next generation and be present, just being a force that people can see and touch, and she can help. So really honored by all the work that you're doing. And health is definitely wealth. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about your platform and the work that you've been doing to help people, and your foundation work, and just everything that you've brought to the table to celebrate with us at the Black Caucus. It's not just about parties. It's not just about getting together, sitting and having fancy dinners, the work, the networking, the ability to help people, not just here in the U.S., but around the world, in the continent of Africa, South Central America, and the Caribbean, has been, this driving force that makes this all worthwhile and worth it. So with that, I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you for taking the time out to be with us. And Doc, I'll take it back over to you so we can have our guests talk a little about themselves.
Well, I'm so happy again today, Dr. Queen Miles. It's wonderful. When I got the call today that you wanted us to be a part of the Black Caucus, man, and then we hooked up with Princess, and also we had the ambassador is in the background because I want him to come on, but he'll be on tomorrow. A lot of love, So this greet us, and can you introduce our princess today, Dr. Miles?
Blessings, everyone. Truly, it's an honor whenever God gives you the opportunity to sit among great people, visionaries. Is definitely a visionary. She is a trendsetter that is going to set this nation on fire. I believe the call of God on her life is to come to the United States to restructure the mindset. And she's definitely going to speak about that. She is anointed for a time as this, as well as her husband. I just want to cut it kind of short for myself because I want her to have all the time that she needs. And it's certainly an honor to connect back with you, Dr. Evans, and also Dr. Ian. God bless you. I present to you all Princess Dr. Sam Zunga Fidelis.
Thank you, Princess. Thank you, Princess. Princess, how do you enjoy being in Washington, D.C.? First of all, Princess, this is your being here today. How do you enjoy Washington, D.C.?
Oh, wow. Blessings, everyone. Sure. I think I'm speechless at the experience of being here. It's always just been a dream. And, we've seen Washington on the internet, on papers. It's really just a dream to come here and be part of what's happening. And my experience here is overwhelming. It's literally new territories and really heightening myself to the level of things that are happening here. And, once things move in the direction that God wants you to move into, it shows the level and the capacity that's already within you. And it just needs you to step up to the people that you continuously meet. The people here are so great. The people here are so knowledgeable. The people here are so willing to learn together and grow together. So it's really been an experience of growth and an experience of realizing the potential that really exists in the world.
Fantastic. Princess, being in Washington, D.C. during the Congressional Black Caucus, it's the 51st annual Congressional Black Caucus, where you have the elected members of from around the nation that's here. And you have some involved with mental health. You have some involved with international development. You have some involved with children. How is this platform to be able to interact with people at this level? How have you found it? Are they receptive? Is this an opportunity to grow and expand? And what are you looking to take away from being here?
Being here, I really have seen that some of the problems that we have back home are problems that also exist here. It's just a different dimension or different environment, but we all really have the same problems which we can learn from one another. And the great thing about being here is the resources that are available here, which we might not necessarily have at home. And already I'm thinking, if these are the resources here, how do we partner and bridge the gap together to make sure these services, work together for us even back home? How can we create a global platform where we're learning from one another and where we really living to the full of our potential and solving the problems that exist? And more than solving the problems, being proactive at meeting the needs and the demands of what awaits us in the future generation. So my take home really is to create partnerships, is to have a continuous platform where we engage and solve problems together. I mean, different minds we can do a lot together. I mean, we go far when we are together than just being one and having one set of mindset, an African mindset. But when we have a global mindset and people from different experiences, from different professions even, some of the health problems that we have back home are not just needing doctors, they are needing professionals from IT to solve the problem, professionals from transportation to solve the problems. So I'm taking a lot and I'm really soaking up a lot so that when I do go back home, the platforms created here are not just ending here, but it's a continuation of what has started here.
Fantastic. Other than, tell us, describe what it is like to be back home. Other than Trevor Noah, we don't know too much about South Africa since Nelson Mandela is no longer,
Yeah.
key figure. So tell us what's home like. How do you compare being here from what you've seen for the few moments you've been here compared to being back home? I understand you said about the resources, but
Yeah.
give us a visual of what it's like to be back home.
So back home, we have a very high unemployment rate. So that alone has such a great effect on the mental health status of our continent, young people, and even the older generation. Back home, the church particularly is not really so welcoming when it comes to health care and mental health issues. I think we're still a bit back when it comes to the interventions that are readily available, maybe from a public health sector or private health sector that the church can, bring together. And the education level also at home, general literacy is such a lag behind that even when we try to educate people, it's really hard for them to conceive and conceptualize the information they're receiving. So we've got so many rural areas that it's untapped and people don't have resources. And then we also have the nice areas, which is your Sandtons and your Cape Town, where people are really affluent and they have resources because they have the money. So the inequalities in our country are causing a really huge scourge in how we navigate the public health sector or even the resources that are readily available. If you want resources, you definitely need to have money. So our public health sector is not as good as, of course, the private health sector or any form of private health sector within our country. So there's so many inequalities that are affecting how we even, navigate life, navigate resources and use the resources for the betterment of the whole country as a whole.
You're saying things that, we've talked about here. In order to bridge the gap, the African diaspora, African American community need to work with our brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, uncles and aunts on the continent, because we have access to a lot of experience, knowledge, and resources here, but the real resource on the continent. So if we're able to bridge the gap between the continent and the diaspora, that we'd be able to take the resources, monetize those resources, monetize the expertise that we have here, and apply them to different circumstances around the globe, we can have a much more livable, satisfying world. Have you done any type of outreach to the diaspora? Are you linking with African American organizations, or are you looking at it from the standpoint of government, foundations? What's your approach? Have you figured that out yet?
The approach, we've had some contact with the diaspora. And some non-governmental organizations and governmental organizations. People are really, they're easy to hear, but very slow to action out and move together with. So I think I've literally from my foundation perspective, we've been running with the people that are there and available to run with us. And I think this was one of the great opportunities, on a global scale that has come through. And just also from an African continent, we've had Zimbabwe, partnering with us. We've had Malawi. We have people from Kenya. So I think even within our own African globe, we are really trying to create bridges, before we even, can go globally throughout other continents. So I think it's pulling weight. There's something that is moving, but not as fast as we'd like it to be.
Understood. How does Cathedral of St. Augustine play a part in this? They invited you to be
Yeah.
an honored guest. How are they? Is it the church? Is it through education? What role and how are they helping to advance this initiative?
I think first and foremost is probably education, which is really the biggest part, which will help our country and our continent, and also the church. The church forms the biggest part of the African continent. African people are people who are praying. African people are people who are going to the church. So once you really come from a church perspective, people are more willing to listen. People believe so much in the church as the body of Christ. So once you tackle those two domains, I believe that's how we can move forward. And, as the church as well, I think the church has felt overwhelmed. But when there's a global organization such as this, they'll feel that someone is hearing their prayers and God is doing something on their behalf. So once we got the church moving, man, it's going to be a replica effect. People are going to be moving. People, their hope is going to be, ignited again. And once people's hope is ignited, people are willing to listen. People are willing to learn. People are, even their mindset is broadened to listen and to see things differently than they did before.
I want to what you said was the education piece and the church piece is the two tracks that's really moving this thing forward. Speaking of education, your book. Tell us about your book. Do you have a copy of your book that you can hold up and show us?
Yes, if my husband helps me, there's a copy.
Okay. We want to know where to be able to get your books. If you could tell us about your book and how we can get your book and support you and help to raise awareness with through reading and knowledge education.
So the book is called Mental Wealth, and it was through a reflection that, as I said before, that the church people were really scared when it came to mental health issues. A lot of our church people globally, across our continent, were going through depression, were going through suicide. Suicide attempts were really high, and people were committing suicides. And the church was really questioning what was happening. Is this demonic? All those type of questions that were happening. And to top it off, even my mother was going through depression, and I really had to do some research. I had to really seek and try and give the balance and what's the medical view and what does the Bible say about this. And instead of calling it mental illness, I said mental wealth, because there's so much wealth in the things that we go through that if we really use the experiences that we have, we can fight the challenges that we are facing, hence the wealth that exists in our mental capacity. And when you look at mental, it's your mentality, it's your belief. And the Greek word actually for, psyche is your soul. For soul is your psyche, which has to do with everything, your willpower, everything. So I put that in the book as well to explain it from a biblical context and also from a psychological context, and how we can bridge the gap to fight mental health issues, to even find coping strategies, which are your day-to-day coping strategies, and what happens when you go through a pandemic. And a pandemic is not only about the COVID and the outbreaks that we have, it's any form of traumatic event that happens in your life, even when we are not with you through that pandemic of your life. What is it that you're supposed to do to put measures that are going to enable you to thrive, to put measures for you so that you are living a mentally wealthy life?
Fantastic. I was thinking that we would address this by getting support from the historically black colleges, universities, and other universities. But is that too late? Do we need to be addressing mental health at a high school level, middle school level? When do we start having these conversations and making it a part of normalcy? Because by the time we get to an adulthood or college, are we saying that people have a stigma against getting mental health? So how do we start the conversation?
I think the conversation starts as little as your little child, your newborn child. Stats show that a child, even before a child is born, the traumas of the mother and the father genetically change the genetic predisposition of that child. So even before your child is born, your genetics already are predisposed to respond a certain way to trauma. So now when this child arrives on earth, they have not experienced any physical form of trauma, but they already know how to respond to trauma. They already know what neglect feels like because it's genetically in their genes. They already know what hurt looks like. And that's why sometimes you find children as young as 2 years old, they're having outbreaks. They're rolling on the floor and they don't know what to do and they don't know how to communicate. So it's as early as you can. And, when it comes to mental health, what's your mental health state like when you are pregnant? What's your mental health state like when you're having conversations to yourself, by yourself? Because that also affects your genetic predisposition to the next generation. So this conversation, I don't think has a time frame when to start. We need to continuously just talk about it because it affects how we parent. It affects how we actually commune or communicate with our spouses. It affects how we show up at work. It affects how we show up in a church sphere. It affects how we even show up in educational spaces. Why do we struggle to manage stress in an educational space or a workspace? It has to do with our mental health. Remember, mental health has to do with the way you think, has to do with your emotions, has to do with your behavior. So we're constantly thinking beings. We're constantly beings with emotions. We're constantly behaving. So what's the state of that like? And if we want to change it, it needs to be a continuous consciousness that we're living a certain type of lifestyle that, contributes positively to the outcome of our behavior, that contributes positively on how we actually even manage our emotions. Why do we say boy children don't need to cry and they need to be strong? What's the implication thereof? What does this boy child grow up to be when it comes to family, when it comes to school, when it comes to work? When we have men CEOs who are heartless, what led them to that point? Is it probably the culture that we've created that men have no emotions that has led them to become like that? So many things that we need to look into. So mental health is not just a conversation that we need to start and end. It's a continuous conversation.
That piece that you just mentioned is worth its own show to go dive deep into it. This is fascinating. I know we have a commercial break coming up, but when we come back, I do want to talk about the relationship with between Her Royal Majesty Queen Mother Miles and you, because she's one of your greatest fans, and I'm not sure if it's a mother-daughter relationship, sister-sister relationship, who's mentoring who. So that's going to be a great conversation to have, because I think that support, she's supporting you in such a way as you're giving and pouring into others. She's serving as a support system for you. So I want to talk about how important it is to have those networks, those links, and how important it is to have those relationships established. So, Doc, I'm not sure if you're going to take a commercial break now, but we really appreciate the time as we kind of fade to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
We've all been hurt at some point, even abandoned. Many of us have done the hurting ourselves. We get to the point where we don't trust anyone, nor do we feel worthy of being loved by anyone. Then there's that one person who just doesn't give up on loving you. Their love is unconditional. Their love stays long enough for you to heal. And then they promise to never leave. That's love you can count on. God's love.
Mm-hmm.
Sound, Doc. We cannot hear you.
One of the things my co-host being with me, always in the driver's seat. He always keeping me right. You know, I love Brother Campbell. He's doing a wonderful job interviewing the princess. Wow, this is big. Those who are watching right now, you're watching the PIC TV Network special edition, Hello America. And we're so happy that the princess is on. We're beaming it from Washington, D.C., while she and her wonderful husband is here all the way from Ghana, West Africa, beaming it in to Washington, D.C., to all of you around the world. Hello America is on the scene. We also have our special guest, Queen is working with us. Queen Miles is here today, celebrating with us on the broadcast. Those that are watching, keep chatting in, putting your chats in right now. I'm going to go back into the interview.
I want to just make one point of clarification, Doc. Her Royal Highness Queen Miles is representing Ghana, and Princess is coming out of Johannesburg, South Africa. So we got the South, we have West, and there's also, we're going to also put a slash next to Johannesburg and put Malawi there as well, because we know there's, by extension, he's also doing represent Malawi.
Wow. And that's why, man, I'm so happy you're co-hosting this show, man, doing a wonderful job. So let's bring her back up, talk to the princess.
Thank you. Where I left off was the importance of the relationship between you and Queen. She's been your champion. She introduced us to the work that you're doing, and you have been advocating for you. How important is it to have that support, that backbone, and what is your relationship with Queen Miles? How did you meet? Your background, your business, friendship? We'd like to learn just a little bit more about some of the folks in your network.
Okay. We met the Queen via our friend, Dr. Pillay, who's based here in Texas. So Dr. Pillay had come to visit us last year in South Africa. So when he came back this side, he introduced my husband to the Queen. And since then, the Queen has really played an inspirational role and a very pivotal role in opening doors in so many areas. And she's also really been a good mentor and direction and guide, you know. And I think this is really important because I think in our country, we take that for granted. Even when you seek out for such a support or someone who will help you navigate, people are never really willing because people feel inadequate, even though they have capacity. They don't want to fully live out the capacity that they have. And sometimes it comes with such a great responsibility, and people are not really ready for such a responsibility. So she has really taken up the role and ran with it and taken up everything in her stride, really, to ensure that, you know, even within my role, I feel secured and I feel like this is what God has called me to do, even though I knew that you always want people that are going to be there for you and vouching for you and fighting with you, you know, because there's so many doors that get slammed before your face. There's so many things that happen that pull you away from the vision at hand. So she's really played a very important role of support of helping and nurturing us and guiding us and directing us and just showing us what else could be done so that the vision that is at hand is realized and we living to the full potential that's within us or within me.
Fantastic. And I'd like to ask the Queen to bring her into the studio and ask her what it's been like working, supporting you, working with you over the last year or so. You're on mute.
Can you hear me? I
Yes.
apologize. Truly, I am humbled because to me, the greatest gift is not so much the gift that you have inside of you. The greatest gift is to be able to have an eye to recognize the greatness that's in someone else. And when I tell you, when I first met Princess and spoke with Princess, I'm telling you now, I saw complete greatness. I saw God do something inside of somebody that is so out of this world, something that I have never, a concept that I have never heard of in my life. And I said to her, America needs you. America needs Africa. Africa does not need America. America needs Africa. This woman is so special. And Honorable Sam, her husband, are so special to God that when Honorable Sam gave me a call and said that they were booked to come, and they found out 2 days before that they were not scheduled, I had no idea that I even had an invitation to be there. When I got that call from Honorable Sam that morning, and this is how special, I want you all to understand that this is a special kingdom assignment with this husband and wife, not just by title, but under the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And let me tell you something, I was connecting them with someone else just so that the trip wouldn't be in vain for them. And lo and behold, after my meeting, hours later on my way home, my phone pings with a message saying, and I couldn't read it because I was driving. And let me tell you something, I made that call and found out to check it. And I was told to check my email. When I got home, it was the same conference. Now, you can't tell me that's not God. A 28-hour flight. And I sat there and I said, wait a minute, God. Somebody hacked in my email. This is impossible. There's no way this has happened. I literally was thrown back because when God puts you among greatness, the greatest is the least in the kingdom. And let me tell you something. He orchestrated this for them. And I'm excited. God bless you.
Thank you so much for that. I'm glad that we're talking about this. The second part was education and then the church and religion. So on the church side, the religious side, obviously, you're a woman of faith and Princess was a woman of faith. How are you connecting, seeing the dots come together and the magnitude of what it is that you're doing from your religious affiliates and religious partnerships? And how is your faith a significant part of this journey by having a strong belief system?
Oh, wow. God works in really divine ways. And when I first got the concept from God of mental wealth, or what is it that I need to teach at the church, it was something that was not even taught in South Africa. Like, there was never anything like that. And I remember initially churches were really not up to hearing it. They were not listening to it. And I remember one day I said, Father God, there's a time that they'll know they need this. And then when COVID came, everyone was searching for answers. Everyone wanted to hear, what is it that God is saying about mental health? Everyone is depressed. And that was just one of the doors that were being opened. And as everything just keeps opening up and each church was calling for a workshop, my own faith was ignited and I believed God for greater. And as I reflected even on my own journey, where God was showing me where He's brought me through, I realized all along I had the mental wealth that God had given me. And when you read in the scripture in the book of Genesis, and when you hear when God has given authority and dominion to Adam and Eve, the way that the enemy comes to them is by questioning what God had said. It says, did God say? And most of the mental health issues are issues of what you hear in your mind and the conversation that you have by yourself or with the enemy in your mind. So after someone opposes the truth that you carry, you start reasoning and having certain type of emotions. You start having certain type of behaviors. And then in this world, it's called as mental illness because they're no longer in line with what society expects of you. So when I navigated and everything was happening, I realized that all along, everything was in the Bible, that all along, God could never have lied, that all along the solutions are just right there before us. We just need to look and see them. And all along, it takes the next person believing in God and telling you about what God has done in their life and what God has done through someone else to actually start a fire and cause people to want to listen again, to cause people to want to change again, to cause people to have a transformational effect from not only in their families, but in their society, in their community, in generations even to come. So faith is the biggest part of everything we do, even though it starts with a small mustard seed of a faith, but it has a very big effect of a fire that you see, moving and moving from one end of the African continent to the other end. And then you hear people calling you from the different countries of Africa just to hear this one thing that God has for you. And then they say there's something else, there's more else. And then God reminds you that this is what else that you carry for people to solve their problems. And even to realize that they are also the change that the world is seeking, because they are also the greatness that God has put here on earth. So I can go on and on when it comes to faith. It's all a divine connection of God. It's all what God really waits for us to hear from Him, to hear these solutions that we have, that He has for us to solve people's problems that we are living with here on earth.
Wow, thank you. Queen, do you want to chime in? You're on mute.
I mean, what can I say? What can I say? It's a rebirthing of the nations, and God is using this mighty woman of God, this humble servant for His kingdom. And I'm just humbled to just glean, in her presence, even here. I tell you, He's an awesome God.
Amen.
So I would like to know how your foundation is working. How are you making a change with your foundation, and how is that different from the work you're doing with your forums and your speaking engagements? And how can we support your foundation? How do we get more information?
Okay. So when it comes to the foundation, the stats in our country say that 9.9 million people have mental health issues. And those are the people that actually go to hospital settings. The stats also reveal that there's probably the equivalent of that amount of people that have not gone to mental health institutions, which means that we do not have capacity in our hospitals to help people with mental health. What does that then mean? It means that people need to be trained in each church, in each school, in each organization that exists in a community, in each private institution that exists at workplace. Train them to identify trauma, train them to counsel trauma, train them to identify when someone has depression. And how does that happen? Train them in basic counseling skills, train them in basic first aid for mental health. And that's what our organization is doing, is targeting that at least in our country alone, we can target 20 million people that we can reach through the alleys that we are creating in each school, whether it's a primary school or a high school, whether it's a college or university, through each church, through each private institution, whether it's an accounting or IT firm. Because also in the workforce, that's where we've identified that if people don't go to mental health institutions, We see them at work being unproductive. We see them at work having burnout. And those are all under the umbrella of mental health issues. So if we train just at least 4 people in an organization to identify, to counsel, and to manage any form of mental illness, we would have at least have the possibility of targeting 20 million people in South Africa. And what does that mean in a continent? It means in each country, we try and do that through the partnerships of the organizations that are already there, and also throughout the whole continent of Africa. And now hopefully working with people in America, Washington, DC, we can even do more. So it's through education, sharing information, and the environment. What's the environment in our communities like? If poverty is one of the greatest things, how do we give people skills or work out people to have better skills so that they create their own businesses, they found work? In our country, it's really difficult to even find work. So you need to create work, and that can be done through skills development that the foundation also has partnered with different organizations. And also seeing what's the support structure within each community. When communities are supporting one another and we're building capacity within those communities, there's a stronger lineage and close-knit that can help when problems exist, that can help to support one another, even when we start businesses, even when we're looking for work. So there's so much work to do, and we're partnering with all the organizations that are willing to partner with us, and just trying to make people live mentally wealthy lives, because it's not just about the depression, it's also about looking beyond that. What does life look like now that we know how to cope with anger? Now we know how to manage our emotions. What's beyond that? How do we live a life that's proactive and represents the true greatness that we carry? And that also has to do with the church coming in. Spiritual life. What's that life? Remember, when you're looking at a person, there are 5 primary areas that someone needs to look into when it's personal development. It's your spiritual life, your mental life, it's your physical environment, your social life, and your society. And the church plays a big role in all those 5 aspects. So when we partner also with the church, we're ensuring that that is looked after, because you're not just a body, you're a soul, you're a spirit person. And once we don't feed from that, we're just an engine with no machine and no oil in it. So that's why we're also looking at the church as the big part of education and transformation and the renewal of the mind.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. This is Hello America on the PIC TV Network. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Thank you.
We've all been hurt at some point, even abandoned. Many of us have done the hurting ourselves. We get to the point where we don't trust anyone, nor do we feel worthy of being loved by anyone. Then there's that one person who just doesn't give up on loving you. Their love is unconditional. Their love stays long enough for you to heal. And then they promise to never leave. That's love you can count on. God's love.
They say your eyes are the windows to the soul. They're also the windows to your health, because they let eye doctors see what's going on inside. Think about this. A comprehensive eye exam can be an early detector of serious health problems like high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Shouldn't you see your eye doctor yearly? Go to thinkaboutyouryes.com to learn more and for a list of local eye doctors. It could help save more than your vision.
It's the biggest. You know what I'm talking about? Hey. want the audio. She want the audio.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I am your host, Izumi, and we are reporting live from Los Angeles, California, and we are on PIC TV Network on Roku TV. And if you're not tuning in right now, you better tune in because you do not want to miss the latest and hottest indie music videos, fashion, celebrity news, interviews, and so much more for you guys that we're going to bring a home for all indie artists and all genres of music. So we are the streets, we are the culture, and we are the content. Stay tuned, Roundtable TV.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Said the Entertainer. I want y'all to check out PIC TV Network. That's right, PIC TV Network. They got 60 free channels on Roku. This is dope. They also started the brand new Coaching World channel at $9.89. So, if you are a content provider, you are a young business with an opportunity to build a platform where you can have your own show, do some programming, check out PIC TV Network on Roku. They got over 60 free channels for you to check out and also grow a business. Go and see them now. See the content. See what they have to do. Learn something. Check them out. All right? PIC TV Network. That's what I'm talking about. Holla.
I'm so caught up. I'm so caught up. I'm just like, I'm in listening mode. You know, I'm just listening to all of these presentations. I want to thank you for calling me this morning and saying, I want you to be a part of something great today. And we're praying for everybody who was in the storm down in Florida and up the coast. And you asked PIC TV Network to be a part of the Black Caucus. And you put our name on the VIP list, and we hooked up with the Queen, all because of you. And my good friend Jerome Bowie popped in too. I want to bring him up for a minute. He popped in on screen. I never knew when I woke up this morning that I was going to be a part of PIC TV Network, being a part of the Black Caucus, and also meeting the ambassador and also the princess and my brother Campbell coming on to do this interview. I'm just blown away. And I want to say thank you publicly to the world. This is nothing that I did. It was you guys giving us an opportunity. Thank you, Jerome Bowie. Thank you, Dr. Miles. Publicly, I want to say thank you.
Wow. After you, Pastor Jerome. Sir.
Well, it's an honor. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
It's an honor to be here. I always believe in networking, and I always believe in there's more than one fella in the ship. But when I was hooked up with Dr. Mouse, actually through you, David Evans, we connected, and let me say, this area was flooded with food trucks for food. You know, you was out there, and this connection I had with her allowed me to feed thousands of people in this area with food. She sent not 1, 2, or 3 trucks. She sent 4 trucks, 5 trucks, and we was able to feed communities. That was such a blessing. But when she seen that I was able to handle it, she said, "My God, look what God sent me." I said, "Send as many as you want. I'm gonna make sure that people get fed." So we was giving her updates, sending her footage, and we had like 2 trucks unloaded within 2 hours. And I believe Pastor Maxwell is on here somewhere too. He can contest to churches coming and picking up truckloads of food to take to their community. It wasn't just about me and what I was doing at one location. We had 4 or 5 locations waiting for food to be delivered. So God is good. I also believe that Overseer Billy Hall is on this call too. And so I just believe in networking, and there's more than one fella in the ship. I'm just honored to be able to, like my friend Shelly Miles always say, help one another. And I tell you, this connection has been a blessing from God. And also Maxwell, I love for him to say something. He's been over Africa for the last 4 or 5 years doing some mighty work over there, building stuff, doing things, got businesses over there. And just to know him and know what he was doing inspired me. So I'm just honored. I'm just honored.
Yeah, I want to say thank you publicly. I was raised right. When people do something for you, you always say, first of all, thank you. You know, Mother Evans and Father Evans, my mother and father raised me right. And like I said, I take no credit for this show coming on today. You know, PIC TV Network is blessed. We just came from the New York Fashion Week. We was a part of the United States Air Force presentation. We just had a big event at the Nats game, the Washington Nationals. To put my hat on.
Yeah, I seen that. I seen that. It was nice.
It was so many things happening, and then we part of this. And I want to thank Mr. Campbell too, because he knows where we come from. And this brother has been with me down through the stretch. Everybody don't know. When PIC TV Network started, we had no money. This brother met me at the MGM, put an envelope in my hand and said, make it happen. That ignited this whole thing, man. And I love you. I love you. This brother is my right-hand man for PIC TV Network. He does all the black and white contracts, does everything. Want to give a shout out to him for making it happen, and to do this worldwide interview with the princess, to have her on. I mean, I think this is one of the biggest things on PIC TV Network, man. You have to get an award, Campbell, for this one, brother. When we have our anniversary, you got to get a 5-star award, man. For interviewing the princess, come on, Steve.
I'm humbled. I want to acknowledge the work that's being done and how much of a pleasure it is to have Princess and Queen and all the supporters and everybody that made this happen. So I know that we're running short on time. I'd just like to ask Princess to give any type of closing remarks. How can we support her, continue to promote the work that she's doing, and then bring Queen Mother in. Queen and Queen Miles is a Queen of Public Affairs and Minister of Public Affairs. So I just wanted to make sure I set the record straight on that. So Her Royal Highness Queen Miles, bring her in as well to have her say a few closing remarks. The Princess.
Wow.
How do we keep supporting?
Yes, you can go over to my website, www.mentalwealthfoundation.com, and all the details are there to get in contact, to how to support, how to donate, www.mentalwealthfoundation.com, and all the details are there. And you can partner with us, you can help us when we're coming out and doing outreach, when we're doing workshops. All the information we'll share from our website. And thank you so much for having me here. It's been a pleasure. It's such a pleasure to be at Washington, D.C. as well. I feel the love. I love how people are here this side, how informed they are, how willing to learn they are, to learn about other people and other cultures. And yeah, it's the state where everything is legislated. It's the highest form of the building. So it's speaking prophetically to what needs to happen down here on earth. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you. And we hope this will not be the last time that you're on PIC. We're looking forward to continuously working with you and checking on you and be at some of your events and learn about the forums and things of that sort.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Queen,
I want to say thank you again to all of our guests today, my right hand, Campbell, and all our audience, our virtual audience. There's many of you watching. You're going to be watching a repeat. Just going to play this over and over and again. And tomorrow, we're going to have her husband on. This is going to be big. Queen, just tell us about your husband. Just take 2 minutes, 3 minutes to tell us about your husband, because the whole world going to be watching this interview tomorrow.
Wow. He's really graced in the ministry for deliverance, and he's really, well, he's known across Africa. He's done a lot of outreaches to millions of people across Africa. He's really a people's person. He's called for God. He's very humble. And yeah, he's going to have an amazing time with you. He's got a lot to share. And he's got a very outgoing personality. So he'll be the star of the show tomorrow.
Yes, he will. And folks, you want to be here tomorrow, PIC TV Network. I want to say thank you again for all of you watching, especially we have so many people watching around the world on the PIC TV Network. This network is not just shown in America, but our network goes around the world. And I'm so happy again for our international audience that's watching the broadcast today. Again, PIC TV Network is the people's investment channels. We're here for you. And those who are watching us today, I'm so honored. You know, I never thought that this would be the day that we would have the princess on sharing information. I want to say thank you to Brazil, France, Colombia, Mexico, Panama, Paris, Peru, Argentina, Egypt, Canada, Ireland, West Africa, yay! United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, and the United States, all through Roku.
Dr. Evans, can we get Queen in?
Country, so Queen, when you go back home, you can watch it again and again and again and again. And so we're happy for all of you watching our programs around the world. And also especially to our promos from Anthony Anderson, Rotimi from Power, Kim Burrell, Vicky Winans, Dorinda Clark Cole, Maya, Howard Hewitt, Trina, William Hung, Claudia Jordan. These people have given us promos that we air and we show throughout our broadcast. And it's been a whole year, over 1,000 shows here on the PIC TV Network. Our anniversary is coming up on Black Friday, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for your time, everybody. PIC TV Network is the place to be. Don't forget to share this information. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, this is big. I want everyone to download the PIC TV Network on your Roku search bar. My brother David Evans is growing PIC TV fans, and I want us to help my brother blow up PIC TV. Boom! PicTVNetwork.com. Bomb.
Timmy, man, I'm popping with good vibes because the PIC TV Network is on Roku with free channels. I want everybody to help my bro David Evans and PIC get it love. Y'all, it's your boy Rotimi, man. I'm popping with good vibes because the PIC TV Network is on Roku with free channels. I want everybody to help my bro David Evans and PIC get it love.
Hey everybody, you ever like some cinnamon rolls? This is Dr. Evans cooking. The president of PIC TV Network cooking some awesome honey
rose for you guys. Everybody, this is for my special viewers on the PIC TV Network today. I'm doing something special for you guys. Now, I'm getting ready to slide some of this glaze on it. So this is orange glaze. See if we can get a little bit at a time. Look like it's trying to do more than I want. Let's see what's gonna happen with my little glaze. Yeah, there you go. Let's plank these rows here. Right on with a little bit of glaze. Some people don't like this glaze, but I like the little glaze that's popping on. So you guys can see how I fix these for you. Especially if those watching today. You get you some honey, rose. You can put a little honey on too. That's what I do. These are orange rose, orange cinnamon rose. And they smell so good too. Got a little bit more in there. So I'm just cooking some rose from the president to you. From the president to the people, how's that? President to the people. Like my rose, you guys? How you like that? Yeah. Make sure you guys are good. That's it. I'm gonna cook a little bit more in there, so this is from Dr. Evans. I love to cook. One of my gifts. Meet me on the Food World channel, PIC TV Network. What do you think?
Yes, you can achieve a college education right here in your own community. Harcum College's ACE program at the Deliverance Evangelistic Church offers associate degree programs that can help you land a good job and improve your quality of life.
I like Harcum and Debbie because I can continue my education.
The teachers are great. The atmosphere is great.
It's all possible through iLead and Harcum.
Call now or check out our Facebook page at Harcum College at Deliverance Evangelistic